Navigating the U.S.-China Rivalry, Asia's Strategic Dilemma. How are Asian nations responding to the intensifying U.S.-China rivalry? A closer look at regional strategies. A region at the crossroads. Asia stands at the epicenter of a growing geopolitical contest between two global powers, the United States and China. The intensification of this rivalry, marked by trade wars, military buildups, technological competition, and ideological clashes, has left nations across the Indo-Pacific grappling with a fundamental dilemma: how to preserve economic prosperity without compromising national security. The 2025 Shangri-La Dialogue, Asia's premier security summit held annually in Singapore, offered a revealing glimpse into how regional powers are attempting to thread this needle. Nations such as Japan, Malaysia, Vietnam, and the Philippines are employing a range of diplomatic, economic, and military strategies to navigate this tense strategic landscape. This article examines the evolving U.S. to China rivalry through the lens of the Shangri-La Dialogue and explores the strategic calculus of key Asian countries as they try to maintain sovereignty, safeguard economic growth, and avoid entrapment in great power conflict. The geostrategic backdrop: U.S.-China rivalry. The U.S.-China rivalry has transitioned from a primarily economic contest to a full-spectrum strategic competition. This includes military posturing in the South and East China Seas, economic decoupling and supply chain realignment, technology export controls and semiconductor restrictions, soft power struggles through institutions and media. The U.S. has sought to rally its allies and partners through the free and open Indo-Pacific FOIP strategy and frameworks like AUKUS and the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, Quad, while China promotes its Global Security Initiative and seeks to strengthen regional economic ties through the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, and Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. At the 2025 Shangri-La Dialogue, these competing visions for Asia's future were on full display. Japan, doubling down on deterrence. Japan, long a cornerstone of U.S. strategy in Asia, has significantly recalibrated its defense posture in response to the China threat. Key strategic moves: increased defense spending. Japan plans to double its defense budget by 2027, making it the third largest in the world. Counterstrike capabilities. Tokyo has invested in long-range missiles and early warning systems, signaling a shift from purely defensive doctrine. Expanded alliance with the U.S. The two countries are developing joint operational planning and integrated command structures. Shangri-La Dialogue perspective: Japanese Defense Minister Minoru Kihara emphasized that Japan's military buildup is not just about deterring China, but also about contributing to a broader network of like-minded partners, including Australia, India, and ASEAN nations. Tokyo also reaffirmed support for Taiwan and the defense of freedom of navigation in the Taiwan Strait and South China Sea. Strategic dilemma: while Japan enjoys a robust security alliance with the U.S., its economic ties with China remain deep. China is Japan's largest trading partner, and Japanese companies are still heavily invested in the Chinese market. Tokyo's challenge lies in balancing deterrence with economic pragmatism. Malaysia, non-alignment and quiet balancing. Malaysia epitomizes the approach of smaller Southeast Asian states trying to maintain strategic autonomy amid intensifying pressures. Key strategic moves: non-aligned foreign policy. Malaysia avoids overt alignment with either the U.S. or China. Selective defense cooperation. Kuala Lumpur engages in multilateral military exercises but avoids bilateral defense treaties with great powers. Economic pragmatism. China remains Malaysia's largest trading partner and a significant source of investment. Shangri-La Dialogue perspective: Malaysian Defense Minister Mohammed Khalid Nordin stressed the importance of ASEAN centrality and multilateralism. He warned against turning Southeast Asia into an arena for great power rivalry and called for strategic trust building between the U.S. and China. Strategic dilemma: Malaysia relies on China for trade and infrastructure development, but it is wary of Chinese military assertiveness in the South China Sea. It seeks to maintain access to U.S. defense cooperation and maritime domain awareness without provoking Beijing. The Philippines. From hedging to alignment under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the Philippines has taken a dramatic turn in its China policy, moving from hedging to strategic alignment with the U.S. key strategic moves, revived U.S. military access. Manila granted U.S. forces access to 4 additional military bases, some near Taiwan. Joint patrols and military exercises, conducting naval patrols with the U.S., Australia, and Japan. Legal and diplomatic resistance continues to invoke the 2016 arbitral ruling against China as claims in the South China Sea. Shangri-La Dialogue perspective. Philippine officials voiced strong concern over China's aggressive actions in the South China Sea, particularly against Philippine Coast Guard and fishing vessels. Marcos emphasized Manila's right to defend its sovereignty, stating that geography should not be destiny. Strategic dilemma. Strategic dilemma. While security ties with the U.S. are deepening, China remains a vital economic partner. Beijing has responded with coercive diplomacy and trade pressures. The Philippines risks becoming a frontline state in any Taiwan contingency. Vietnam, strategic hedging at its finest. Vietnam continues to execute a classic hedging strategy, deepening ties with multiple powers to offset reliance on anyone. Key strategic moves, comprehensive strategic partnership with the U.S., elevated in 2023, allowing greater defense and economic collaboration. Military modernization, procurement of submarines, fighter jets, and surveillance systems from Russia, India, and the West. Cautious engagement with China, maintains high-level party-to-party ties with the Chinese Communist Party. Taiwan, the Flashpoint and Litmus test. Though not officially represented at Shangri-La due to its diplomatic status, Taiwan remains the most sensitive flashpoint in the U.S.-China rivalry. The U.S. continues arms sales and unofficial support to Taiwan. China has increased military drills and economic coercion post-2024 election of pro-sovereignty leaders in Taipei. Regional actors remain cautious, with many unwilling to explicitly back Taiwan militarily. Taiwan's fate may ultimately define Asia's future security architecture, with countries quietly preparing for potential spillover effects. ASEAN's role and limitations. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, remains the region's premier multilateral body, but it faces criticism for its slow response to crises and its inability to confront China's assertiveness directly. Ultimately, Asia's response to the U.S. and China rivalry is as diverse as the region itself. The challenge is not just avoiding war, it is managing peace in a multipolar, contested, and interdependent world. Whether regional diplomacy, deterrence, and economic engagement can prevent escalation remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: Asia is not merely a theater of great power competition, it is an active shaper of the global order to come. By tracking the choices of nations like Japan and Malaysia, we better understand the new strategic playbook emerging across the Indo-Pacific, one that rejects binary choices and instead navigates complexity with calculated pragmatism. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more updates on global politics and current affairs. Your engagement is our motivation to deliver quality content. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.